On behalf of the City Council, City Manager, and staff, I offer our warmest wishes for a prosperous new year. I also wanted to just take 3 seconds to thank Andre and the casinos, the Mesquite Resort Association, for all the work that they've done in the years as we went through this tremendously trying time financially for everyone, where they have basically reinvented themselves so that they succeed, and as they succeed, the entire city succeeds. And thank you for your efforts and all that you do for us and all that you do with the charities that are here in town. On November 24th, 1859, The Origin of Species by Charles Darwin would forever change the view of evolution. The landmark book has become the foundation for evolutionary biology. Darwin is often credited with the following quote: "It is not the strongest species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change." Charles Darwin never made that statement, nor did he coin the phrase survival of the fittest. That phrase was a quote by Herbert Spencer, who was building on Darwin's work. In fact, the quote is a major misinterpretation of the work that he did, and it was demonstrated by being a misinterpretation by Peter and Rosemary Grant on their work on the Galapagos Islands for the last 40 years. They studied large ground finches. Sounds riveting. And that was just one of the species that Darwin described in his book. Their major findings regarding the finch are as follows. In times of good weather, there is a wide variation in the beaks of the finches. When the island is caught in El Nino or La Nina drought, a La Nina drought, the population of finches declines dramatically. In the case of the large ground finch, the individuals that survive are the ones with the biggest beaks. Why? Because bigger, stronger beaks enable the birds to crack large, harder seeds, which would be ignored when softer seeds are plentiful. In other words, the strongest of the species survives. The fake quote is completely wrong with regard to the individuals that survive. It does, however, offer some insight about which species survive. The reason the large ground finches have been around as long as they have is that there is enough variation in the species that whenever conditions are extreme, some individuals in the population are able to adapt to the change. In the case of the large ground finch, those with the biggest, strongest beaks, or tools, if you will, are able to move forward and survive. For those of you thinking, I'm going to draw the conclusion that those with the biggest, loudest mouths in politics survive, albeit probably true. That is not the intended use of the analogy. Make sure I have my paperwork going right here. Thanks to the efforts of our staff, we have completed the largest overhaul of the business licensing process in over a decade. I am proud to say a business coming to Mesquite will find a more streamlined process, and in many cases a faster license issuing process than ever before. In 2011, our businesses faced crushing impact fees. In fact, speaking with the business owners, impact fees were one of the top reasons for not expanding an existing business or opening a new one. When we came into office, we made it perfectly clear that needed to change. When it comes to these fees, our city has led the way by offering payment options for traffic and sewer impact fees. The Virgin Valley Water District and Overton Power District charge their own expensive impact fees. When I took office, I met with each of these entities, and we agreed that a change needed to take place. It is hoped that each of these entities will offer some type of payment system to lessen the immediate burden on businesses wishing to expand their current operations or new businesses wishing to come to town. In 2013, the city has once again led the way for others to follow. At our December 6th meeting, staff announced a lower rate after reviewing our traffic impact fees. Again, I am proud to say the new fees in most cases are 83% lower than the previous fees. This will save developers and businesses thousands of upfront dollars and make it more affordable to do business in Mesquite. Earlier in 2013, my colleagues, Councilman Hafen and Councilman Littman, brought back an ordinance to consider the 3% right-of-way fee. That right-of-way fee charges utilities a pass-along to the consumers and other business owners 3% of the gross, whatever's on your power bill or your telephone bill. Thanks to the efforts of these two councilmen and our council, the new ordinance reduces the fee to 2%, and there is an automatic review for the following year to determine if we will be able to further lower the rate and eventually sunset the fee. Too often in the past, we have witnessed a number of fanciful projects that have led nowhere, and in one case cost the taxpayers of Mesquite $2.5 million. I fully agree our community needs a collaborative, long-term vision. But as a community, we should and will vigorously oppose visionary directions not based on realistic expectations. Visions not based in reality are pipe dreams that do nothing at best, and as we have seen in the past, can be very expensive nightmares. In order to achieve our goals, this council and mayor have adopted a systematic and objective-driven strategy to move our city forward. On November 29, 2013, the city held a public planning session that was designed to identify and clarify a set of actionable goals for the next 18 months. The day-long session included input from local business leaders, organizations, and the public. The meeting led to a set of actionable goals. The objectives are tied to quantifiable actions. To date, here are the results of those efforts. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. You probably can't even bring that up. I can barely read it, and I'm sitting in front of it. We had three basic premises: be good government, do better business. We had to keep it real simple for our minds. Build great community. The action items for Be a Good Government were mayor and council will each attend at least one community event each month. That happens. At council meetings, the city manager will report to the entire council regarding comments from citizen coffees. He does that. Mr. Barton, how many times have we had coffees with you?
At least a dozen, possibly a dozen.
We have another one coming up. Staff will research and analyze the idea of streaming council meeting via the internet and report its findings to City Council. That's shown as 100% done. The reason why we're not doing it, we just don't have the money in the budget to afford those things. I hope we can find some money to do that in the future, but for now we'll continue to do what we're doing. City staff will designate as the city's primary point of contact the city manager, primary point of contact. The city manager will develop the necessary policies and procedures regarding public information, media, press interaction, and report such to council. That is moving forward. The city manager will include funding to review a city department. We have completed now 2 reviews of city departments. We just finished the fire department. We will continue to do those reviews and implement the plans as best we can. Under better business, the city manager will present council recommendations to improve the city's business licensing process, including specific methods to streamline the overall process, simplify the application forms, reduce costs and fees, reduce the overall time required to obtain a business license. That is, and I am proud to say, 100% done. Staff will review and present to council policy recommendations for the sale of city-owned land. We are working on that. We are looking at ways under NRS in which we can bring that forward and finally create a policy that we have for our land and go forward with that. Staff will take the initiative to contact key business organizations and leaders to support them in hosting a business summit. That was completed. Staff will take the initiative to contact working with Mesquite regional business, local utilities, and other service providers Staff will present to council policies and incentive programs that complement existing regional, state, and federal economic development incentives and initiatives. That is 10% done. We are working towards that goal. In collaboration with local business organizations such as the Chamber, MRB, CSN, and industry associations, mayor, council, and staff will support local entities in their efforts to create, mentor local businesses using programs such as SCORE and SBA. The Chamber and MRB have met with SCORE and other groups. They are working well with these outside groups, and we will continue to follow that. Staff will review and recommend to council improvements to the city sign ordinance. This is the last fun one that we get to do. That's about 75% done. We've been following and doing it in a shorter type way. We've taken small chunks of the sign ordinance, and we continue to work with those chunks. Mr. Seacrest is very happy about that. Build great community. Staff will develop and present to council a plan to create a place of community in the downtown area, including a timeline for construction, development, and designation that adequately considers the city budget and priorities. That one is still in the works. I wish I could announce half of the things that we have that come in front of us that look good for the downtown area. But we will be able to announce some things later as those plans come to fruition. So we followed our objectives, and as far as I know, we're the very first council to actually have actionable items that we bring forward to the public to measure our effectiveness as leaders and in moving forward. I wish tonight to personally thank our hardworking staff. Excuse me. We are approaching our 18-month deadline on this. Tonight I'm asking staff to set a date in June for another public planning session to review our progress, create new objectives, and add the component of an actionable, long-term strategic plan.